Now, the Amansie West District Assembly has launched a reclamation program to help redeem several hectares of land lost through illegal mining activities. Now, the program, to be run on pilot basis with the support of the Small Scale Miners Association, is expected to help protect lives. Now, District Chief Executive William Bidiako Asante tells JoyNews that several residents have fallen in abandoned mining pits scattered across the district. Ohiming has more.
The West District, until the ban on small-scale mining, was a hotspot for illegal mining. At least 90% of residents were actively engaged in one form of mining or the other. Thousands of deep mining pits left uncovered have become death traps for residents, culminating into loss of lives. The Assembly on Wednesday held a crunch meeting with small-scale miners, Operation Vanguard and other stakeholders to tackle the menace head-on. It comes as government prepared to lift ban on small-scale mining. District Chief Executive William Bidiako Asante says the area has seen enough destruction from illegal mining activities.
Honestly, you trek on certain stretches and it's bad. It's bad. I mean, sometimes I've had occasions to go around, and sometimes I feel nobody sees it. And when you are there with some of the small-scale miners, they also feel ashamed that they've done that, and the whole world is talking about them. And so, as for its seriousness, we don't need to overemphasize it. You go to places, you see pits, open pits, and gullies all over the place. And sometimes we've had occasions where able-bodied men had fallen into some of the pits and lost their lives. Children going to school sometimes losing their lives. I mean, through some of these pits that are uncovered. And so we cannot overemphasize it.
The Amansie West Assembly wants to build on the gains to promote sustainable mining operations when the ban on small-scale mining is lifted. Mr. Asante says mining has the potential to employ more people if well managed.
Our district mining committee has sat down and we've decided that we are going to also pilot reclamation in our district. Today we are going to announce it in collaboration with the small-scale miners for us to set an example of good mining practices for others to follow. I can assure you that we are ready for mining to become so beneficial to our people. We need to raise taxes for mining. We need to safeguard the environment, and then also try to build businessmen out of mining in this enclave.
Meanwhile, chairman of Manson Kwanta branch of the Small Scale Miners Association, Abu Bonsra, is pledging the support of the association.
We are ready to cover all the mining pits. We are the same people who created those pits, so we know the terrain very well. We will willingly take up the task.
For Manson Kwanta in the Amansie West District for JoyNews, Ohiming reporting.
Now to our next story. Most people in Ghana would probably agree that cocoa cannot be grown in the northern parts of the country because the weather pattern there would not allow it. But here's a story that will change that perception. A 62-year-old farmer at Zebela in the Baku West District of the Upper East region has successfully cultivated a 2-acre cocoa farm. Abasori has more in this report.
Conditions here in the Upper East region are hotter and drier compared to conditions in southern Ghana. This is because the region experiences shorter rainy seasons. The cocoa crop is said to be sensitive to lack of water, which means it cannot survive in areas that experience prolonged droughts. But here at Zebila in the Boko West District of the Upper East Region, Amansie Azurago's 2-acre cocoa farm is thriving. It was not easy in the beginning. I had to spend the nights here on the farm to prevent animals from chewing the young cocoa trees because the place was not fenced, he says. The 62-year-old farmer once visited his son who lives in the Ashanti region and brought back with him 7 cocoa pods. Amansie father in the past had tried to grow cocoa on the same field but failed because the trees eventually died. But Amansie was determined and succeeded where his father had failed. Starting with seeds from the 7 cocoa pods he brought with him from the Ashanti region 5 years ago, Amansie gradually expanded his farm. These dugouts here provide water for the farm during the dry season. So far, he has managed to harvest and sell only 1 bag of cocoa beans, but he is not discouraged. He tells JoyNews if he has been able to achieve this much without any help, he is confident he could expand the farm. He believes more farmers will be encouraged to go into cocoa farming if government provides the necessary support. If the government can help me with fertilizers and water pumping machines and also help me get a wire fencing around the farm, I can achieve more than what you see. I believe cocoa can grow anywhere in Ghana. With the right feasibility studies and better farm practices, cocoa farming could become a commercial enterprise in the Upper East region. For JoyNews, Albert Sori, reporting from Zebila.
Now, though education at the secondary level is free in Ghana, students of the Bram Community Day School in the Krachi East Municipality have to pay a high price to access it. Every day, the students have to walk at least 5 hours to and from school because of this and other daunting challenges. More than 90% of students posted to the school from outside the region refused admission last academic year. Now, Amansie Awuni traveled to Dambai and reported the school is situated 9 kilometers from the town and there are no commuter vehicles there.
It is a Monday morning and the road between Dambai and Nkwanta Junction in the Krachi East Municipality is littered with students of Bram Community Senior High School. A few ride bicycles and an even fewer number use motorbikes. The majority of them have to cover the 9-kilometer journey to school on foot.
Our problem is that before you leave here to the school, mostly before you get there, you are tired.
So that you make effort and make our school body, so that it will help us our academic studies.
For students like Charity Ngachim, it is even worse. From where she lives to the roadside is about 1 kilometer, and she has to walk about 20 minutes before reaching the main road to continue her journey. There are no commuter vehicles here, and some passers-by and farmers who ply this route often offer the students a ride on trucks, motorbikes and tricycles. Today, Charity is lucky a benevolent rider offers her a lift after she walked about 5 minutes. Charity has arrived safely, but that is not always the situation. 15-year-old Blaise Osabuti was recently involved in an accident when a motor rider offered her a ride.
Last week, Monday, I was coming to school and a guy picked me. So we reached here and he wanted to negotiate the curve. As he did that, the motor wanted to fall and I tried to drop down and I had the vein.
Dambai is where a majority of the students live. Because of the long distance, many of them often get to school late and are often too tired to concentrate on lessons, according to the headmaster of the school, Vincent Kosi Atiku.
The majority of the students' from wherever they are to school every day. And this makes it difficult for them to come to school on time. Those who try to come, get to campus very late, they appear tired as well. So when they come, they are not able to do much. Some, because of the tiredness, decide on the days to be in school. Some days they will come, some other days they wouldn't come at all. When you ask them, they tell you they are tired.
When classes are over, the students are left with two options. They either have to walk back home or stand by the roadside, sometimes for hours, begging riders and other vehicle owners to help them. When it rains, their plight is worse. Charity is lucky again. She gets help from a colleague student who has a bicycle. And Bless, who cannot walk the 9-kilometer journey on foot because of her injury, has to get into the boot of a car. On Monday, the MP for Kratchi East, Michael Jatto, presented a bus to the school, but he emphasized the bus is only a temporary measure.
Now, this school is meant to be a community-based school, but I would like to ask, where is the community? What visibility study informed the siting of the school when students will have to walk nearly 9 kilometers to school daily? We need to rethink about this school. And for this, I suggest that the school should be converted into a boarding facility.
The headmaster believed the bus will be of immense help to both the students and teachers, but added the school would need at least 3 buses to be able to convey all the students. However, the biggest challenge still remains. Some as young as 13 years who are posted to the school have to rent rooms and live on their own, a situation that breeds indiscipline and sexual promiscuity. According to the headmaster, Charity says where she lives makes studying at home very difficult. Apart from being tired after walking such a long distance, there is no light at home. Bram Community Day School has a capacity to admit 1,500 students, but it currently has only 501 students because some of them reject postings. In the last academic year, for instance, more than 90% of the students posted to this school from outside the region refused the admission because it lacks accommodation.
In the 2017-2018 admissions placement, 510 students were placed from 7 regions, excluding the Volta region. And because of the distance and the fact that the school doesn't have a boarding facility, many of such students didn't come. There were only 54 who reported. Out of the only 54 who reported, out of the 510, 40, sorry, I said 54, 54 out of the 510 that reported. 9 reported and have since never returned.
The MP for the area, Michael Jatto, believes the best way to solve the problem here is to provide accommodation for the students. The John Mahama administration built the community day schools to increase access to secondary education. The Akufo-Addo government, on the other hand, has introduced the free SHS policy to improve affordability. But from evidence at the Bram Community Day School, both interventions appear to have failed to achieve their aims. Secondary education here is neither affordable nor accessible, and some parents would rather look elsewhere than risk sending their teenage children to unknown communities to rent rooms and walk about 5 hours a day to access secondary education. For Joy News, Manasseh Azore Irene reporting from Bram.
From education to the court. Now, the Economic and Organized Crimes Office on Wednesday argued in court the freeze order on the bank accounts of the former COCOBOD boss, Dr. Stephen Okuni, would have to be maintained until the determination of the case of causing financial loss to the state brought against him. Now, the case before an Accra High Court involves 217 million cedis allegedly lost to the state during Dr. Okuni's 3-year tenure as Cocoa Board CEO. Now, his bank accounts were subsequently frozen, and he's been fighting through his lawyers to have the order overturned. Now, a lawyer for Iyoko, Jacqueline Atrovi, told the court the institution is only being proactive to ensure the proceeds of crime are not dissolute before the trial of Dr. Okuni ends. The trial of Dr. Okuni ends. There's more in the following report.
In an address that lasted well over 2 hours, lawyers for the investigative body marshaled their case before Justice Georgina Mensah-Dacha. They argued why the bank accounts of the former Cocoa Board boss would have to remain frozen till the court hearing the causing financial loss case against him delivers its judgment. Counsel for Yoko, Jacqueline Avotri, on Wednesday told the court they have a duty to identify proceeds of crime so that the state would know which assets to confiscate in the event of a successful conviction. She defended the decision by Yoko not to oppose the earlier request for access to the account, explaining the investigative body had no legal basis to kick against the request, especially when the freeze order secured in February 2017 had elapsed. She further told the court the amount of money in Dr. Okuni's 2 accounts is less than the total amount, $215 million, involved in the charges he is standing trial for. The Yoko lawyer also brought up the labeling of the institution as a monster by Dr. Okuni's lawyer and prayed the court to deal with him. The judge, Justice Georgina Mensah-Dacha, announced Monday, May 21, as the date to deliver her ruling on the matter.
Now, after almost 3 hours of questioning, the Appointments Committee of Parliament has recommended the approval of Cynthia Lamte as Deputy Special Prosecutor. JoyNews is learning the decision was taken at the committee's meeting held after her vetting on Wednesday, where she warned she will not hesitate to resign her position if she's sidelined by her soon-to-be boss, Martin Amedu. Alton Barbari's reports.
When Ms. Lamte appeared before members of Parliament's Appointment Committee on Wednesday, she made it clear her attitude towards work and incorruptible nature make her suitable for the job, and for almost 3 hours demonstrated her competence and suitability for the job. The 59-year-old former chief state attorney, when approved by Parliament, will assist Martin Amedu in prosecuting corrupt public officials and politically exposed private individuals. She wants the cooperation of the public in her work, but says any attempt to make her irrelevant will not be countenanced.
I would resign because I wasn't put there just for cosmetic sake. I was put there to work. So if you sideline me, I may even go to whoever it is to at least inform him that I have realized that I'm not working. Maybe it's an oversight on the part of the person. Then the person will come back to his senses. But if it is true, then I would resign because I cannot be a puppet over there.
The perceived hot temper of a special prosecutor, Martin Amedu, was a subject that generated interest during the vetting, and Madam Cynthia was asked how she would handle it.
I've worked with Mr. Martin for some time now, and I know his temperament. So I must tune my mind that this is how the person is. If you do that, you can work with the person. If you do that, you study the person is temperamental, so you also have to calm down so that the two of you can work.
She also outlined some achievements in her 30-year practice as a state attorney responsible for criminal prosecutions.
When you handle a case and you win, it's one of your achievements. I remember where I had to prosecute 2 judges and a registrar. I ended up convicting one of the judges. One was acquitted and discharged, and the registrar was also convicted. At least it tells you that the law is no respecter of persons. And to me, that is it. Because for once, I wasn't going after the ordinary person in the streets, but the person who was himself administering justice. That is one of my achievements.
chairman of the appointments committee tells JoyNews the members did not have a problem approving her nomination for the consideration of Parliament.
We decided that we will unanimously recommend her to the House to approve.
You were so satisfied with her performance?
We are satisfied with her performance.
Some said that she wasn't detailed enough in responding to some of the issues.
Because we don't want any detailed answers here. We just want to see that she's qualified, she understands the work. Prosecution. That's all she has done her life, except that she does not appear to be interested in other things other than prosecution.
JoyNews is learning the report may be put before the House on Friday. Elton John Bobes reports for JoyNews.
That's it for AM News. Joseph Akable joins Roland Walker and myself for the review of the headlines. Stay tuned.